Let's go ahead and go.
Go ahead and go. Oh my
Microphone
God.
check 1 2. What is this?
Testing testes.
The testiest of the testes.
Hey
yeah.
guys.
Hey, John. Hey, Sean. Hey, me. How's everybody doing?
Hey, me.
Hey, me.
Well, it sounds like you're saying
I ju-
Haley.
I just assumed that you would be coughing by now.
Well, so
Did I miss that
no,
part?
no, no. Well, yes, but no. So I am getting all ready to go. Sean has got a drink, I believe himself, right?
Got
Right.
a little bourbon. We got a little bourbon on the rocks.
So
Ooh.
I have my little precast, and now I will be having my uh, I don't present
My
cast.
your incast.
Yeah, incast. There you go. Oh, Sean. Ugh.
You're gonna fire up your theme music?
And this is what it sounds like. I need that the little is it smoke two joints? A little sublime. That'd be a nice way to go. Okay, we're gonna get this going.
Yeah, we got to get this.
Furthermore, Susan.
Well, dude, I'm glad you could swing on by here. Fucking.
Oh, thanks for having me. This place is lovely.
Yeah. What kind of environment are you? Are you in your garage right now?
Yeah, I'm in my garage.
Nice.
I just noshed on a tuna sandwich,
There you
and
go.
now I'm ready to talk about some fantasy football.
Dude, yeah,
Some football.
9 days away from the draft, that's pretty fucking crazy.
Dude.
Yeah, if you can't tell by my accent, we're gonna go 9 kickers. 9 kickers, Brian. You can't hear me because you're coughing, but when you finally realize what I just said,
Well, then Big Dick Zerline is going #1 overall. Does he even play anymore?
so 32 kickers divided by 10 people. How many? All right.
Yeah, three kicker league.
I feel like I had a note.
I've got some notes as well. I was telling
Sean.
I put it in the group chat so I could. Oh, okay. This week, food, games, drink settings, and TikTok live streaking down through the gymnasium and into the quad. Rules.
Oh, I thought we were looking at the league chat in Sleeper. We're talking about the league chat and the
text chat.
Text chat. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, do we just talk through this, or does Brian? Do we wait until he?
No, I caught the
I've
whole
learned
way
to
through.
I've learned to just talk through it as much as possible. Because
Exactly.
it can go on.
It'll go on forever.
But John, all right. Is this your first time being commissioner in our league, or have you been it once before?
Oh, this is the first time I have won any fantasy anything other than I do well in the NCAA, tournament pool.
Like the March
But other than
Madness
that,
thing?
yes, that's my wheelhouse.
Ooh.
Everything else, I'm a second place kind of guy.
Mr. Runner Up.
So
I am the bridesmaid.
Well,
but now you're
the
bride.
No, you got the
exactly.
No,
I think I was the bridesmaids one year. I think because I lost like my second or third championship.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, that's
actually.
a good team name
I do remember. Did you have Aaron Rodgers that year?
Jared Goff is the only quarterback I have ever had, as far as I'm concerned. St. Alois Saint, Marin Catholic alum, fantasy champion.
Marin's finest.
He was probably in high school when we first started.
Yeah.
So
God, 12
we don't
years.
have to get into like specifics about last year. Last year obviously ended on a very strange note, but
it was
fair and square. You are the winner. There's no contest about it.
Can we replay that? Because I don't remember what exactly was the big controversy again. Was it a
All
tie?
right.
Was it
Let
what
me
was it?
break it.
No,
Let
it
me
was not
break
a
it down
tie.
for you. Let me break it down for
Oh,
you from my
this is the
perspective.
injury, right? This is the injury.
Yes.
Yes, I do remember that. No, that is
Injury to end all
yeah.
injuries. It
Nope,
was.
nope. That is to me 100% clear. There is no controversy. There's no asterisks. Injury. The game's over. If the game does not start, the game is over. That's all that player played. Like if you have a guy that didn't play that day and you have him in your lineup, he was on the bench, he had a cold, he missed a meeting, whatever it is, like that's
Yeah.
the person you put
I.
yeah, the person you put in your lineup, the numbers they get are the numbers they get.
You get what you get, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't throw a fit.
No fits. No fucking
It
fits.
was it was just a little emotional, I guess, at first because wasn't it? It was the Bills versus the
Yeah, it was that
Bengals, and that there's a
was it
lot
that
of
game?
fantasy firepower, and it happened in the first quarter, so like the scoring had barely even tapped in, and
Hmm.
the I think the matchups were pretty damn close too at that point. But
Right.
Yep.
like you're saying, the
There's
chips lie how they're gonna lie how they fall.
there's so many layers to this onion. It's
Walk us
it
through this
was
bloomin'
me.
onion.
Okay, so me versus Joey.
Hmm.
Joey is the evil empire. No one
No,
wants Joey to win.
no. Joey is the emperor. Joey is sitting with
Right.
his like 6 or 7 fucking rings, or like just what on that? Like, dude, he is Sauron. He is the Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, and we have to take that evil down. Too many
Yeah.
rings.
So I scored, I think like 130 or something. It was solid score, but I did not put it to bed. It wasn't a sure thing, and I think he had it was like a 12 or so point difference. So it wasn't one. It wasn't like a done deal that he was going to win. But looking at all the other stats, I think it was T. Higgins. It was the last game of the weekend, Bills and Bengals,
Hmm.
and I was flying home from Oklahoma, watching it on my phone, and T. Higgins gets his first catch after being pretty. He wasn't like targeted at all at the beginning anyway, and then he gets his first catch, and then boom, you know, Hamlin goes down, and that was like there's like a little like it goes across the plane. Everybody who's watching the game on their phones is kind of like looking over their seats and like
Are
turning
you
around.
seeing
They're like,
this?
exactly. And so it's like, who's saying this? And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. So anyway, I ended up winning by, I think Higgins got whatever, 2 or 3 points on the
Yeah,
one
right.
catch.
On that one catch.
And then, and then that was it. So
Yeah.
it was
Damn.
kind of, now I've really come to feel like it's the best way that I could have possibly won a championship. I was, I grappled with it at first, but now it's like I get to be the WWF bad guy.
Yeah. No, you're setting the
Nobody feels good about it, but I have the belt. So
I feel like we've had much bigger controversies over the years in our league. I can't really remember all the details, but I remember some other Christmas Day fiasco involving Misha or something like that, where Joey ended
yeah,
up winning. And
it was the place swapping. I'm pretty
it was
sure,
a
wasn't
stat
it?
correction. It
that was
was
a
like a
Yeah.
stat
stat
correction.
correction.
Yeah.
It was after it had already been settled
Right.
and the winner was declared, and then the next week's lineup was, or the next week's games were already getting started, and then it swapped it at the last second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shoot.
And
Oh
then,
my
yeah, we've
God.
had so yeah, I remember because I was in the runner-up third place game against Misha this last year, and we both had our quarterbacks
That's
in
right.
that
You guys
game.
are in the same kind of thing. It was like
Yeah,
tied
yeah.
going into it.
It was like fuck, I like, and yeah, we were basically tied, but yeah, it was a pretty easy pill to swallow when it was all said and done. It's just like, well, hey, I mean, what the fuck else can you do? There's no other alternative that even seems reasonable to do at that point than just let it be how it is.
Yeah, I'll buy some nice whiskey and I'll share it with everybody. How's that sound?
Oh, dude! Didn't last year we did that blind tasting? I think you had some whistle pig or something like that.
No, that was 2 times ago. That was when we did the escape room. But then I brought this
Oh,
up
yeah.
for the draft last year. It was like 120 proof or something, and I didn't know when I bought it. The guy was just like, "This is a good one." I was like, "All right, I'll try that one." And then we all tried to drink it after sipping on summer shandy all day long, and it was like, "Oh my god, this is hot! My esophagus burns!" Like nobody wanted to drink that, and it was like hot as well, so that added to the heat.
Yeah, that's so funny, man. Well, congrats where congrats is due, man. It's exciting to get
Well,
that
thank you.
first big dub. And did you, when you won and it all kind of sank in finally, were you already thinking about what you're going to do as commissioner? Or are you like, I'm done with fantasy for a while, I'll pick this up in months down the road?
Somewhere in between. I always something bad always happens, and like the writing was on the wall, like Joey was gonna win again, and it was gonna be just. I think he beat me in the championship before, and it's like, oh, it fucking, of course. And every time that happens, I'm like, delete the app. Don't want to talk about football.
I think you almost were gonna legit not come back.
What was it, like
after
2
that
years
one
ago?
year that it was more than that. It was me and you and whatever. I think it was the finals, or maybe it was the semifinals. And I know I really was taking truth to your sentiment about, I think I'm fucking done with fantasy football. And I was like, no, dude, please, you can't quit.
Yeah, it has crossed my mind once or twice.
Yeah.
But only because I remember at that point it was like the only thing I had to, like, I was just busy as fuck, like kids and new job and moving and all this stuff. And I'm like, fantasy is my safe place. I go there to tune everything out. And then I'm like, but it's making me miserable. Why would I choose this to be my escape from
your abusive secret
reality?
mistress?
Yeah. But now I won, and my marriage is a lot stronger, and
it'll do that, man. It has that power.
I'm competitive until I like accomplish what I set out to do. And you know what? Last year, I won the fantasy, and I won my bowling league for the first time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So now it's like I'm playing with house money. It's it's all good. From here on out, and that's why we're rolling with 9 kickers.
Hey, all right, I'm ready for it. It's gonna be one of those years. It's gonna be super interesting. And I will say, Sean and I did have a small, tiny little discussion when we were trying to figure out, like, okay, we're getting John on. This is gonna be awesome. What are we gonna really kind of talk about? Because last week with Nick, we were kind of talking about a lot about like the the draft, like the day of, and like what we're gonna do for all that kind of stuff. But I think with you, now that you have full ownership of everything and setting rules, it would be kind of interesting to talk about some of these rules that have been put in place. And I don't know, Sean, did you had some notes? You said
I have some notes, but honestly, before getting into like the specifics, I took some notes about things that jumped out to me on the updated settings and stuff. But I am curious if you kind of had this preconceived notion of like things you wanted to do as commissioner, because I kind of remember one of the years I was commissioner, like I was not looking forward to making these changes, and it was like I pushed it to like as long as I could without thinking about it. But some people, like, they just know, they're like, I want to change the league like this. Like they kind of have that, I don't know, they have that image already. How about for you?
I'm a real meat and potatoes guy. We're going to go standard default Yahoo settings across the board. How does that excite you?
I mean, was there something to say about back to basics.
I'm not.
That was crickets. That was crickets for a second.
I am not opposed to going. I'm not opposed to going back to basics. I feel like a lot of
you get 9 yards rushing. You don't get a point. You fall just short. You don't get 0.9. Yeah, no. So here's how it's gonna go. Let me
Wait, so
pull up
are the
my.
settings that are in Sleeper right now, are these pretty much
There was a
it,
couple
or
of. Well, so here's what happened. I started messing with some of the settings, and then I realized I was in last year's league looking at the settings, and so now I changed some of last year's settings and maybe a few from this year, and I don't know which ones I changed.
Oh gosh. Oh well. That's
So if you've been looking at them, then I
okay?
don't know,
So
honestly. So
this is going to be breaking news on the podcast then.
yeah, I'm pulling them up right now.
we are all
So
about
scoring. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
we're ready.
let's
You
hear
know,
this.
seen this? Have you heard about this?
Touchdowns get you 12 points. No. All right. So I basically wanted to get rid of all the extra bonus stuff. I
Yeah.
had
Okay.
I won based on Chris's rules. So part of me wants to go back and just run
If it
it
worked
back. I
once.
mean, exactly. Why would I mess with success? And it was funny. I remember the draft last year. He was like, "These are the anti-James Conner rules." After I drafted James Conner, because Conner scored like 100 touchdowns from 1 yard out 2 years
Oh
ago,
yeah.
and so that was part of his impetus for putting it at a 4-point rushing touchdown instead of 6, and some of that a couple of those. Anyway, I won with James Conner on my roster. So that was fantastic.
Fuck you, Chris.
No, love
No,
Chris.
no.
I love Chris. He's my favorite. He set the settings and I won. But against Nate in like the semifinals or the whatever round, Dalvin Cook did nothing except for like a 70-yard touchdown run or reception. I can't remember, but I got a bonus point for the catch, the run, the touchdown, the yards. Like I got like all these extra points, and that's why I won against Nate. So anyway, I got rid of all the extra, like 40-yard touchdown gets you an extra bonus point.
right.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to go with like 100 yards rushing, receiving, or throw, like whatever the number is for throwing. I don't see that setting in here, but here we go. All right, so we got passing touchdowns are back to 6 and rushing are 6, pretty much standard.
Yeah.
The only change with receiving, I'm going back to 1 point for running backs, 1 point receivers, and I'm kind of debating between, and this will get into our roster settings. It's either going to be 1.25 or 1.5 for tight ends again.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see where you're going. I see
I-
where you're going with this.
Oh, I've got my
But-
pitchfork. I'm ready.
Yeah, but the flex position, at least one of them is going to be a wide receiver, running back, tight end flex.
Yeah.
So while the Kelseys and the top guys are still going to be really good, that is going to kind of level the playing field as far as like, oh, you want to start that tight end? Well, I can start a receiver or a running back in the same slot.
So there's no tight end position, but if you want to play a juiced or draft a juiced tight end, you have the option, but you're not punished if you don't have a Kelsey necessarily, or one of the tops.
Yeah, or at least you can try to counter that with a receiver or running back. So it's basically your one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and then here's where I don't know. I mean, I'll take your feedback. I might ignore it, but I'll listen to it. I am debating between either just a variation on the flex position. I'm either going 3 of these wide receiver, running back, tight end slots, or 2. I think that's where I'm leaning.
So would that be
The settings?
Would that be in place of like the wide receiver slots and the, or are these like extra on
These
top?
are in addition to, I think.
So
Those are in addition.
So how many players are you thinking total for a lineup?
So we would have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers is 5, and then a defense is 6, and then these number of flex spots is what I'm debating if I want 2 or 3.
So
I can't tell if 3 is
9.
too many. Yeah, 9 is like a standard roster, but that includes a kicker normally, so I don't know if I'm getting a little too carried away with the number of flex spots, and if 3 is just too many, I might just go with 2. But so what I had originally was going to be one of these wide receiver, running back, tight end slots, and then one standard flex, like wide receiver, running back, flex. But then
so that'd be what, 8?
at some point, I made it
Mhm.
2 of those wide receiver, running backs, because that's what I'm looking at right now in my settings. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm having
I
trouble.
feel
I'm having trouble with the foresight as far as like what this is going to do. But I like the idea of all the flexes, just having that tight end option. You can play whoever you want at flex. It'll open things up. Say you have a late game, you got the option between your tight end, who gets a little more on the receptions versus maybe a receiver. And yeah, I haven't thought it all the way through.
All right, I gotta do this.
I like the idea for sure of having no dedicated tight end slot, but having at least one where you have the wide receiver, running back, tight end. I think that's a cool idea because it just opens up a lot of options and it doesn't make it so heavy on like, oh, this is a tight end year for our league. Kind of like last year kind of was. Like I had Kelsey. Obviously I didn't win, but like he was pretty pivotal for me in a lot of my matchups. And I think
Hawkins went nuts for me on one game.
that's true. Yeah, he had that massive game. And as far as like having 2 versus 3 of those, that the only like real implication that jumps out to me is it going to be as a deeper league as far as how like players that we have to draft and search for free agency, or are we going to be like ultra stacked where everybody's team is like 1 and 2 starters on the depth chart kind of thing?
Well, I think that's where the defense and the kicker ends up helping with lineups because the teams aren't so deep. The deeper we
Are we
go,
having
like
kickers?
no, we're
No
not having
kicker.
kickers, right? But so like the deeper the team goes, the more wide receiver, tight end, running back slots that we add, the more, like everybody's team, including a bench, is going to be pretty goddamn deep, right? So
Yeah, the
the
10-team league.
so this is really going to be a lot. It would really be a lot about injuries, looking for, those up and coming players, whoever the dark horses of the year are. I mean, I think there may be I don't know. I feel a lot of the times, like for the first few weeks, all the big players that people are going to be talking about picking on up, it's already going to be on somebody's team, and it's going to be a while until we get to the point where we'd actually have free agents on the waiver wire that are going to be like valuable, that are going to make like big impact, just because I think that's just going to. I think there'll probably be a lot of whiffs. Like we all have whiffs in the draft, so we'll definitely be needing to go after players. But that's yeah. So 9 players deep. So we're talking basically minus a quarterback. Like you know what? I forgot to ask you. Did you set the limits on how many players somebody can have, or sorry, how many each position somebody can
No,
have on their
I
team?
didn't look at that one yet. I didn't think. Yeah, I don't know. No.
Because so right now the way we're thinking is going to be 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, and then we got
And then a free for all 3 players or 2. So last year we had 8. I think we had. So like a standard fantasy team is 9, right? You've got quarterback and 2, tight end, flex, kicker, and defense.
and defense, yeah, and that's usually it.
And so I don't know. I think if I maybe go with 3 flexes, I would do 5 bench spots, and if I go with 2, I'd go with 6 bench spots, just to eliminate one extra person sitting on whoever's roster.
I think that actually
I
that does.
don't know.
You know what? That actually, I will say this. That makes a lot of sense. I hated the 5 roster spot that we had for like the longest time, but
I mean bench spots.
bench spot. Sorry, God, thank you. But I think what you're talking about does make a lot of sense. Like if you've got those 3 flex spots, yeah, have 6 bench spots on top of that deep of a lineup. There's the waiver wire is going to be
There's gonna be nothing out there.
slim pickings.
Yeah, and I like to have a little bit action going on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I
it's kind of
certainly
lame when
think
I think
everybody's
that's
just
pretty. Yeah,
able to like
it's
sit
fun.
on that extra player.
so. Are we doing like Fab and all that?
Yeah, it's gonna be same as last year. I think it's like $1,000 auction, and then you get $100 for the rest of the season.
Okay.
I guess if I was just voting on a whim, even though I know we're not voting, but having the 8, so having just the 2 flex spots, and one of them being a tight end option, and then having 6 people on your bench
On your bench.
feels pretty good. But I could totally understand if you add that 3rd flex in there, and it's just like
Well, I think
ultra
I
deep
think
league.
I think a big
Yeah, I
part
think
of
I'm
it.
just gonna go 2 flex with both being tight end options. The flex is like wide open. You can do whatever
Right.
you want. I don't see that it
Yeah,
would make too much difference, and I feel like if we're
So
like
there wouldn't be a
eliminating
max.
the tight end spot in the first place, then we might as well just make both flexes just a true flex, and you can do whatever you want with those positions.
That's a good
I
point.
agree with that.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there couldn't be a maximum, or sorry, there couldn't be more than 2 tight ends playing on anybody's team at one time. Like in in
Correct.
in
Not
the in the
active.
lineup. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So because
Right.
I
And
was
you could
going
have
to
a team. You
say
could have a team that has 0, or multiple teams that have 0 tight ends, and maybe you
right.
have one team that has 2 tight ends. But
Well,
that
because
could make things really interesting.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
and
it's go ahead.
well, just as far as the pickings, I was just looking at the numbers right last year. Um, there is Travis Kelsey, and then there's everybody else. Because if we're talking about these points, per reception being so high, he had 91 receptions last year, 1,000 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns. The next highest, I think everybody's easy guess, was Mark Andrews. But how far behind was Mark Andrews from Travis Kelsey?
On receptions.
65.
Yeah,
That's the next
Where was
highest.
where was Hawkinson?
Hawkinson.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. I just changed the order. Hawkinson is the next one by 2 catches. So Hawkinson had
Okay.
67 catches last year. Mark Andrews had 65.
Who's below
Yeah.
that?
And Joku, 64.
Oh wow.
Yeah, see, that's a massive drop off, and I feel like anybody who's forced to play a tight end and has anybody like bottom half, and you're like just like fuck.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
to.
like this is
Hey,
such a random dart
I
throw
mean,
right now.
because in all honesty, like going all the way down to 60. So let's just say, so other than Travis Kelsey, everybody you've got here are all the 60s. So from we already did Hawkinson and Andrews and Joku. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 other players that had at least 60 receptions last year. And Joku, Waller, Ingram, Pitts, Fryermuth, Kittle, and Goddard.
I
yeah,
mean, last year was a little bit of a anomaly with
It was a
how
bad
far
year for tight.
ahead
Well, I don't
Kelsey
know.
was,
I mean,
or just how bad everybody else was. I don't know.
everybody else was really. I don't know. I felt I had such bad luck with tight ends. I can't even remember who I had. Um, Not anything fun.
It sucks to get caught in that streaming tight ends every single week
it's the
mode.
worst.
Is it
Yeah,
is
so
that
so you
is
wouldn't
that
have
worse
to
than
in this
streaming
year.
quarterbacks?
What's that?
Mm.
Is that worse than streaming quarterbacks, or is streaming quarterbacks the ultimate worst?
Ooh.
Speaking of quarterbacks, you can find a decent starter most weeks. I mean,
I
you're
think
gonna get it wrong
the
some of
floor
the
is
time, but
generally higher
Okay.
with
yeah,
the
for sure. With
quarterback.
tight ends, you're just
You
like,
could get a
I can
fucking
get
a
9
goose egg
points.
or a 1.
It's like, yeah, some of them are just so touchdown dependent. So you get 1, 2 catches on 3 targets, and one of them better be a touchdown, or you're toast.
Yeah, that's so
Mhm.
weird.
All right. Well, I would
Okay.
say I'm not as upset with such a high or what do you want point,
The 1.5
that's just
or
it's
2.5, whatever.
Yeah,
no, it's
so that
1.5.
part, again,
It's a lot.
the goal there is to bring up the rest of the tight ends potentially. If you want to start one of them, they get a few more, points on the receptions, and then but if you're starting Kelsey or anybody, whatever, somebody can start like a running back or receiver who's gonna I don't know. Just
I
the
kind of like.
the
I kind
crappy
of like
tight
it.
ends. They get a little bit more if they get a few more catches because
I
they're
like
just generally not competing with the rest of the receivers.
I like that allure of those middling tier tight ends still being like a potentially attractive option. There is something about that though, where like it makes things really interesting when you're like, sure,
Yeah, well, it's
I'll
either one
play
of those
Fryer
tight
Moose
ends
this week.
or you're scraping the bottom of the barrel on a receiver, which
Yeah,
is similar. You're just like, oh, I hope this guy gets a couple of catches and one's a touchdown. So
See what happens.
yeah.
I think the flexes. I'm leaning towards 2 of those flexes, and then I think it would make it 6 bench spots. I think that's like 15 rounds of drafting, and I think that's like a standard. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at the final numbers, but yeah,
yeah, it was pretty good. It's got a
sounds
good.
that feels pretty good. I feel like
Good.
3 flexes is a little bit overkill.
It's a
So
lot
it'll
when
just
you
be
do have 2 and 2 for running backs and receivers already.
Yeah.
2 running backs, receiver, 2 flex.
So what do you think, like, as far as player limits are concerned, or position limits are concerned? Like, if you
I
were
hadn't
to
really
think
thought about that. I don't
like,
know.
if
I mean,
you're
if
doing,
you're required to start whatever position, I mean, nobody's. I don't know. I guess that people might stack up at receiver more so.
Brian, you're
They're
talking about
obviously
like, can you just
getting
play
more catches on
4
a PPR,
receivers and like,
no, I'm not talking about
like bench
how many.
spots and everything, like total on your roster.
Yeah,
oh, I see.
total on your roster, because it's
Like
like,
your
yeah,
whole bench can't be receivers, and you only have 2 running backs on your roster
exactly,
at all.
exactly, right. So like, just because like somebody doesn't want to draft a tight end, I guess my worry is that, like, yeah, somebody could do something like that instead. Like, no, I don't have any tight ends, so I don't even need to worry about replacing the position. So I'm just gonna go and feed myself fucking running backs and um
Is that a
Yeah,
worry
that's
though? It
kind of
just kind of
part
it
of
just
it.
feels
I'm
like a
not really
strategy.
forcing
well,
people. Yeah, I'm not really
with
forcing
six, I
people
mean,
to
with
take
six,
a tight end. Or
yeah, so with six bench spots. So I got, man, I need to see this
All
out
right,
in paper.
let's get a calculator.
So obviously you can have what, 2 QBs total? Are you gonna make it no more than 2, right?
yeah, I
3?
guess I could do that.
Do we do that? Like
I
say
Yeah,
have no idea. I've never.
the leagues are
No,
usually
we haven't
set
had
that
limits
way.
because I had to stack quarterbacks in the playoffs because I had no idea who was injured, who was starting, and all that shit. So I had like 3 at one point. I'm pretty sure there
I
was
think
no,
3 might always be like, where is that?
unless I just got to the limit and didn't know it. 1,
Let me
2,
go
3,
to
4,
the,
5.
where is that place where you can see the player, like, uh, team?
I mean, I think you'd have to be pretty ballsy to be hoarding like 4 QBs on your roster, knowing you can only play 1 each
Well,
week.
and I'm not necessarily worried about the QBs, but the running backs and wide
Yeah, and that's a
receivers.
strategy as well, or a detriment if you know, you're
Yeah,
sitting on quarterbacks for weeks, and that sucks because you're not getting other positions. Yeah, I don't really
And
know. Has there ever been? We'll have to put
hoarding,
that to the audience. I've never
yeah, always
known of
good to
any
get the.
position limits.
I
And I
thought
mean,
there was
Anybody's ever
always a
done that?
thing.
if you're gonna hoard, then you better be making the right decision of who you're gonna put in your roster each week. That can get you in trouble too.
It could.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Tinker, tinker, tinker.
well,
Hold on, let me go and re-rank all of my draft prospects before anybody else. All right. So food at the party has
Okay.
to be pizza or prepared something. The catering thing wasn't a bad idea. If we get like a taco, like even Rubio's, you can get a couple of things.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Make your own tacos. But
yeah.
pizza is easy.
Pizza
I'm
is
all about the
easy.
ease, the simplicity when we're drinking. Nobody wants to cook. No one wants to go pick something up. And even putting a taco together can be a real challenge.
I have to do this myself.
Yeah.
I'm always like, I can always go for pizza. So I guess I would just throw it out to anybody or the rest of the
I
league
think
at that point.
I think yeah, pizza's totally good. I think last year we didn't really have very many snacks, if I'm remembering right, like throughout the day. I feel like when we finally got the pizza, we were like fucking ravaging savages of just like, oh, finally some real fucking food after like 5 hours of being here.
Okay. So you want some dip?
Yeah,
Well,
it
I
was
would
like
say,
one
like,
Sounds like
one bowl
you
of
want
dip.
some dips. We can bring some dip.
I mean,
I
we
want some
could
I
have.
want some platters.
Nice charcuterie.
Yeah, I want some fucking prosciutto.
I would say like having pizza as like
Ooh.
the main meal is like a good idea. Like we know we're gonna be getting a big pizza delivery for everybody, but I don't think like having not just snacks, but I don't think having alternative things for food. Like I mean, Nick's got a barbecue going now. Like we could just have like meats and stuff if like people are still hungry or the like hungry before pizza gets there. Like I feel like it should be a pretty loose environment for everybody to kind of just do
I
what they
really would
want.
rather it be very rigid.
Well, dude,
You will eat a one-topping pizza, and you will like it.
At 5:23, and that's all you're gonna get.
that's the only thing you will get. We're going to supply with as much alcohol as your body can stomach. But as far as food is concerned, you will get this one
But yeah, I think like
thin crust.
getting a big order of pizzas is pretty legit. Like if anybody else wants to BYO literally anything else that you want, like then just bring it.
Yeah, I mean Nick is like right next to Avon's. There are certainly other places, like around if we wanted to do, I don't know, bring anything before festivities got going. I mean, I think the other thing that is what Sean and I we were talking a little bit about is we're not sure as far as what time if Misha would be able to get there or not. That if possible, if he could, uh, maybe like trying to do the draft like a little bit later in the day or that lined up with his schedule. So um, I think hopefully if everybody is feeling pretty loose, I think we've got a lot of opportunities and options or whatever we
Yeah, I'm
want.
gonna try and get down there as early as possible because traffic
Mm.
sucks.
And you're gonna
Labor Day
stay the night?
weekend going to San Diego. Yeah, I'm sleeping there. So
Nice.
it's like a 2-hour drive by 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm hoping
Okay.
it's not 3 hours by the time I leave here.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's my only goal is to keep it under 3 hours.
Well, yeah. I mean, come anytime you want because a lot of us will already be there.
Yep, I got a draft on Friday night, and then I'll do that
Oh,
one.
is
That's
that
my practice.
virtual?
Yeah, that one's virtual.
Yeah, nice.
Oh,
How many? Oh, go ahead.
Best ball. Anybody? I'm gonna send a text. Did you guys do best ball last year?
Yeah, it was pretty bad for me, but it was
Yeah.
cool because it's set it
Yeah,
and forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, what were you gonna say? That's
Oh, I was gonna ask how many leagues are you in this year?
2. I always do 2. I got
Okay.
San
And that,
Diego.
but 2 and then
Well, it used to be
and then
everyone in
best
San
ball.
Diego in one league and everyone in the Bay in the other one. Yeah, I just did the best ball last year for the first
Yeah.
time. That was.
Are you in any other
new.
leagues, Brian?
No. I mean, I think I did have that family league going for like a little bit, but that was never serious for money. The only other one for money I got out of that was that 12-person PPR draft.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, this is my only league too, but I'm down for that best ball though. If you send the link out.
Cool.
Now I just need to know how to
That's it.
draft better. I think that was my problem
How to
with
what?
how to draft better. I didn't really fully understand. Like I feel my team was just such garbage. Like I had OBJ fucking never played on any goddamn team, just like an empty player on
Yeah,
that roster.
I learned nothing.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
have no takeaways. Where I was like, oh, next year I'm gonna do this. It was basically just last man standing. You draft a team. I think Joey had couldn't even start a team by halfway through the season. He had so many injuries.
Yeah, that's so
Exactly.
crazy.
And,
Yeah,
and you're just toast. It was like season ending. You lose your 2 or 3 quarterbacks, and that's it.
it's a weird way to look at the NFL, like and how prominent injuries
Yeah.
really are.
It's like a survivor pool more than
Mhm.
a fantasy league. It's just like
It is.
I'm gonna go do some research on their health.
I know,
who's
right?
looking fit this year, eating right, lean and limber.
So, oh yeah, the only other thing we talked a lot about it in the last podcast, the time constraints for each round of the auction
Yeah,
draft.
I think that's gonna be when I get there and I'm talking to everybody, and we're all gonna hash that shit out. As far
That
as
seems
draft
fair.
settings and any of that, I'm not going to make any decisions because I can't remember, honestly. I don't remember what the last settings were. I just remember it took a long time to do something. I can't remember if it was like the first nomination until ran at, and then people got to like the $1 bidding, but it was like everything started at like $1.
Yeah.
I don't think you can set a minimum bid amount. I was hoping there would be a setting where like you have to bid, you know, a certain amount so that you get to the part where it's like, okay, everybody basically last year was like, there was a lot of conservative approaches, and everyone's
Yeah,
like,
like
I will
don't
pay
bet
sticker price.
$5 for like fucking Travis Kelsey or whatever. We know it's gonna
I'll
probably be
I'll do
200.
sticker price and not $1 more. Everybody was like right in line with like, and it was like, oh, I got him for a steal. It was only like $1 over their projected, amount that you should be spending. And then people went back and looked, and they had like $100, $200, $300 left in their thing at the end, and it was like, well, shit. I
Yeah,
tried to drive the cost of Lamar up on Nick just for fun, and then he walked.
I know. I couldn't
Got
believe
him
that.
for like a pretty standard like price.
Yeah,
And
Nick
it
was very headstrong of like, that's too rich for my blood.
yeah, he took. I think everybody who took a conservative approach last year kind of struggled. Chris took the like, I'm getting these 3 players and I'm done and I'm broke and I'm
Yeah.
jumping in the pool, and he was hanging out having fun for the rest of the draft, and he crushed it the first like 6 weeks or whatever, and then his team just probably injuries or whatever fell apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody who took that middle approach, I don't think it worked out so
I
good.
feel like I still don't have a real strategy for an auction. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to prepare other than like think about players that I want to really try to go in on, but I don't know what else to do besides that.
Yeah, I only remember like 2 things from last year's draft, and that was like stealing Lamar Jackson, because that became my profile picture of Nick looking shocked, and Chris was behind him, like just laughing over his shoulder. And
That's so
then,
funny.
and then you took Austin Eckler.
I was about to say, I remember taking Austin Eckler from you, and at first I was so pissed about that, and then he just started exploding finally in the season later.
And I got Cooper Kupp, and he fell apart at the end. But that was like, I don't remember who took, other than like, Chris burning through his money and Nick being conservative. I just remember it being like a marathon. I was like exhausted by the end of it, and it was like, oh my god! Like if you're doing again the conservative approach, and you just like you have to keep your head on the screen the whole time and try to make sure you're getting your value middle picks and stuff. And
it's a lot.
It took forever.
Was that your first auction draft, or had you done one before?
Yeah, no, that was the first time.
I think that was the first for the majority of people in our league. So maybe this year it'll go a little smoother, or at least our expectations are more in line with what
we're
it's
gonna
like.
shorten the pick time, and then I think a few people will spend a lot more on a few players early. Everybody didn't know; no one could see what was going to happen by the end of the draft, so everyone was kind of like, I am not paying over for any player.
I'm not going to be the one.
Only like 2 or 3. Exactly. There's only 2 or 3 people who did that, where they like bet over the asking price or whatever the suggested, the MSRP.
Yep. Well, man, it's crazy. It's coming up in a little over a week here. Should be a fun time though.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'll bring my Nintendo Switch sports game.
There we go.
We can play swords and tennis and bowling and.
Well, Nick's got the big like 70-inch outdoor TV now, so there's that. He's got full regulation size pool table out there, so there should be some good activities going on as well.
And the whole place is now covered, so it's not like some
there's
wicker,
a lot of shade,
thing.
a lot of shade now,
tons of shade now. So we're not going to be boiling and dying, this year. If people want to hop in the pool, that's fine, but there's going to be plenty. There's going to be plenty of shade.
Nice. I have some pool cornhole inflatable. Maybe I should throw that in.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
that-
fun.
that's
sure.
food,
Yep.
pizza plus whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
games. We'll
Yep.
figure out when we get there. And Nick has plenty of video games and stuff. Drinks.
Yeah.
Sounds like everyone can bring whatever. Joey's gonna get some keg.
Yep. Joey's gonna get the keg. It sounds like when he gets down there.
We covered the settings
Yeah.
more or less. I think I'm pretty well settled on like 6 bench spots. I think we'll go 2 of the
To the
not a
flexies.
super duper flex because that includes a quarterback. Maybe we should just
Right.
go 9 super flex. Quarterbacks included.
Just
Go wild.
absolute
Yourself
wild,
into
wild
something
west.
wild. Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
have no
Surprise
idea how to
everybody.
draft at all.
So you have 5 quarterback spots, but you're only allowed to draft 4.
That would be so weird. But
So you have to have an empty spot at all times.
but you are doing where if you rush 5 yards or get a 5-yard catch, that is half a point, right? Or like 0.7 if you get 7 yards. Or
Yeah, 0.1 per yard.
yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay, got it. Cool. So yeah, it
Yep,
seems like a
yep.
good
So
mix
we've
of
got,
like
yeah,
a little
running
more
back.
traditional, but a couple little wild card pieces in there.
Yeah. And then I just need to decide on the quarter point for tight end, whether it's 1.25 or 1.5. Oh, I still have that. Let's go
That'll
back.
probably keep
Running back
you
will
up
be
at night
1.
for the.
That'd be interesting if they were all like 0.25 within each other. Like, what if running back was 0.75, wide receiver 1,
Whoa!
And that's
tight
why
end
you're not commissioner.
1.25? No, I'm not commissioner. No. These
Oh,
these are John's decisions.
I love patterns. That's a fun pattern.
It has logic to it.
Mm.
I do love Spock.
Oh baby, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, just keep watching your notifications as I update the settings live.
I would
And I'm
love
missing the debate here, guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. I'm pretty tapped. That was all the stuff that I was hoping we'd get into.
I mean the Republican presidential debate.
Ooh la la! There's Republicans now.
It's on right now, guys. It's kind of a big deal in Orange County.
Mr. Live TV over here.
Orange County.
Yeah. Our motto is ain't nothing wrong with a little xenophobia.
Oh man.
Well,
All right. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
I'm
That
excited. I'm
I don't think I
excited.
can top that. Yeah, no, I'm stoked. I'm ready. So I guess the next time we're all going to be getting together. Do we actually have a time where we're thinking we wanted to try to start the actual draft? Like regardless
idea.
of rounds.
I'm not sure either. I don't know if Misha if there's anything riding on that.
Yeah.
I think we'll just have to figure that out as we get closer.
Yep. We'll just start it when everybody's ready.
Yeah.
High noon. High.
High
Yeah.
fucking noon. All right, boys. Bring your 6 shooters. Going down.
All right. Well, text me if you have any questions or suggestions.
All right. Thanks, Commish.
Yeah, they do. Thank you for fucking like coming on by and taking your time and talking to us, dude. It was fucking awesome.
You're so welcome. We'll put these kids to bed now.
All right, man.
right, Papa
well,
John.
see you in 9 days.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
Later,
Later,
bud.
Bye.
All right. Sweet. Hopefully do you record that?
Oh yeah, no. Oh God, if I have not been recording this entire time, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be really upset. No, we're good to go, and I think it's a
Nice.
good bye to everybody, and excited to get this going. I think probably the next time we have are we gonna try to do a podcast the week of or no?
I don't think so because there's not really anything new to talk about next week, like a couple of days before the draft. So I'd imagine if we can keep the podcast going It would be sometime after the draft, maybe pre-week 1 or draft recap, or who knows. Last year we started off really hot with the podcast. We got like
Dude, it's the
3 in
same
a row.
it's the same every year. We go on it
And
like
then we
okay.
just like didn't do it. We just gave up. We gave. I mean,
I will say this.
it is what it is. Like
It is
it's
what
hard
it
to do
is.
sometimes.
It is definitely, and obviously we're all working. We all got busy schedules. But I will say this, you guys, what really keeps us going and what really gets us like wanting to do it like every week is when you guys come on and join us. So,
That is the best. We should do a fucking little clipboard sign up sheet at the draft of like pick a date when you are going to
yeah,
make yourself free to come chat
yes,
with
I
us,
love
and
that idea,
we'll have a schedule to make sure everybody gets a little time to shine
dude.
or feel super awkward and uncomfortable.
Sometimes the schedule whip is the only thing that's going to keep you in line. So I'm down for that. I'm excited. I'm stoked for the draft. I'm stoked to be able to see you. See, oh man, we got so many people flying down.
Yeah, man,
Oh
it's gonna
dude,
be a packed house. Should be a really fun time. I can't wait.
all right, everybody. Well, thank you guys all for coming on by. Hopefully everybody got to the end, and yeah, I guess we will. I guess we'll catch you next time.
See you in person.
All right, peace.